Peace, prosperity, and abundance to everybody out there, man. Welcome back to another Kreative Konsciousness LLC video. Last time I showed you guys how to do 3 different coiling methods. The first one was by hand. The second one was what I call a crank method. And the last one was the lightning speed coiling method with a drill. So back today, I'm gonna show you guys, as promised, how to do the exotic coils, or what they call the double coils. And for the video purposes, I have here some 24 gauge wire coiled around some 16 gauge wire. You guys see that? Then I have some 28 gauge wire coiled around some 18 gauge wire. I'm not gonna go through those methods again because I showed you guys how to coil it in that video. So we're gonna move these to the side. All right, so once you coil them, you got your coils on here. What you normally wanna do, well, you gotta do this regardless. So what you wanna do is slide this off, like just pull it all the way off. Boom, like that, see? Got the nice coil here. Move this over. Like I said, this is the 24 gauge coil. And this is the 16 gauge wire. So what you wanna do is take more of that 24 gauge wire, just a little bit. You just wanna have enough, about right there. That's enough. Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide your coil onto the 24 gauge wire, like so. See? Just like that. Okay. Now, you're gonna take the 16 gauge wire again. Then, so you basically just gonna take wire just like this. And you're gonna take this coil and coil it back around the 16 gauge wire. So you just going like this. Y'all get that? Look at the design. You want to make sure it's nice and tight though, because if it's not gonna look right at all. So any coil that you're doing, you want to make sure that it's nice and tight. Remember that. I'm just gonna keep on coiling. My hands are a little oily. Had to put some lotion on because my hands was a little ashy, man. I couldn't get on camera with the ashy hands, you feel me? But nah, look though, we gonna keep on coiling. As you can see, we getting there. We just about done. We just got a few more things to do. I'll keep on coiling. Keep wrapping that 24 gauge around the 16 gauge wire. This is what's gonna lock it in place. So I like to go about 3 or 4 times just to lock it in. As you can see. Then we go back to the other side. We're gonna make sure that this is locked in. Coil it a couple more times. That, push it down, make sure it's all nice and tight. Bam. See that? So simple, man. It's really not too easy to do this. It's pretty dope how it is already. So what we're gonna do is clip these ends as closest to the base wire as you can. Clip. You're gonna take your needle nose pliers, and then you're just gonna close that in. I don't know if you can you see that? But anyway, the end that you just clip, you gotta just push it down. That's gonna lock it in there. Make sure it's tight. We're gonna clip these ends as well, as close to the base wire as possible. Then we're gonna close that in. So, there you go. That's just the double coils right there. That's what you call a simple double coil. Simple double coil. You can add this to your pendants, or you can make just jewelry like this, like the copper jewelry like this, or bracelets. The possibilities are endless when you're working with this design. You just give your pieces an extra texture to work with, you know? So, now when you get to the exotic coils, that's a whole nother thing. You might want to take it up a notch, you feel me? Like, this might not be enough. Like, for me, it's not enough. I like to be a little extra with mine, you know? So, I might take another wire and coil it with this one. So, I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about. So here, I'm going to take some, let me see, what would be the best with this? All right, so here I'm going to take some more 24 gauge wire. Take a nice little piece of this 24 gauge wire. And then what I'm going to do is take this 24 gauge wire. I'm going to wrap it, coil it around this one. So what I like to do, when I'm doing it, I like to take it in the same direction, in the opposite, the same direction that I coiled that wire in. So we're going to go the same way. So the 24 gauge wire is going to go inside, like where it started at right there, that's where you're going to start it at, right there. Get it? All right, so wrap it around like so, right over those last little, look, you're gonna wrap it over this part. At that bottom part where you start at, you're gonna wrap it right around there. You want it as close to that coil as possible. So when you come around, you're gonna go right in the groove of that one. See? Make sure, that's why you gotta make sure it's tight. See, you're gonna go in each groove. Just like that. Make sure it's tight though, so I'm gonna just sit it down. It's gonna sit in there, just like this. Just go, boom. Just keep coiling right in each groove. See how I'm doing it? See? Camera tripping a little bit, but look. It's right in there, right in the groove. Just keep it going. Boom. Then you're just gonna continue to coil over those last coils. And then, boom, there you have it. I like to make sure it's tight on the opposite end. The end that you started from, make sure it's tight. As you can see, this is really tight. All right, so now we're gonna clip this off. Boom, done. Lock it in with your needle nose pliers. We're gonna come to this side. We're gonna clip that. Boom. Lock it in. And there you have it. Call this the exotic wrap. You know, it look kind of exotic. Nah, but you know, you see how adding that extra wire to the coil just give it a whole nother look? Like, I feel like that's just pretty dope, if you ask me. But yeah, if you're a little extra, you like to do a little extra stuff. I'm sure your customers or whoever you're making a pendants for or whatever it is you're making will appreciate the intricacy that you put into your pieces. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to give y'all a little game out here. So, let's do it again. So this time we're gonna use some smaller wires, smaller gauge wire. So like I said, this is the 28 gauge coiled around 18 gauge wire. So what you want to do, give me 1 second, y'all. Alright. We ain't even gonna edit that out. We're gonna keep it raw. Like I said, man, we just learning and growing as we go and gonna progress together. Didn't have all my stuff right here, but it's cool. 7 o'clock in the morning. So, but yeah, so like I said, it's 28 gauge wire, coiled around the 18 gauge wire, my apologies. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide the 28 gauge wire off like so. Boom. Just like that, you got your coil. We're gonna take some of that 28 gauge wire. Make sure it's long enough for you to coil around it. I think that's enough right there. Like we did in the other on the last piece, you're gonna slide that 28 gauge right inside the 28 gauge coil. So you always want to use the smaller gauge wire to wrap around your base wire. It won't give you such a hard time as trying to use another 18 gauge wire trying to coil around this 18 gauge wire. It'll just make it so much difficult. But when you use a smaller gauge wire, it'll just make everything so easy. So right now, you're gonna take this 28 gauge wire like we did in the last piece, and we're just gonna wrap it around this. Just coil it around. You wanna get as close as you can with this. As you can see, as close as possible. Pinch it right there, hold it, don't let it move. Then you're just gonna bring it around. Just keep coiling. See that? All right, we're just gonna keep going. Making sure it's nice and tight. Up your grip a little bit on that piece so you can have full control. Make sure it's nice and tight though. Get a better grip. Pull it tight as you coil around the 18 gauge base wire. Just keep it tight. Boom, boom, boom. Just gonna keep going, just like that. at the end, coil it around 3 or 4 more times, like so. Make sure it's tight. It's okay if it get a little bent out of shape as wire. You can always just straighten it back out. You know, the wire gonna work with you. Like I said before, don't be intimidated by the wire, man, because the wire gonna work with you. It's copper. Make sure it's tight on this end. Wrap it around a couple more times. Boom. Just like that. You see that? This was a smaller gauge wire wrapped around 18 gauge. So alright, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clip these ends again. Bam. Take your needle nose. Push it right in. Make sure it's tight. We're gonna do the same on this end. Boom. Just gonna tie that in just like that. There you go, that double coil. We're gonna take it up another notch one more time because, like I said, I'm a little extra. I like to give it a little extra flair, you feel me? But instead of using the same 28 gauge wire that we coil with, I'm gonna use a little bigger wire. We're gonna use 24 gauge, and we're gonna see the different type of texture that it's gonna give us on this smaller piece. I mean, you can use the same. It's pretty much up to you. You can use square wire to coil around inside of here, or you can use like half round wire to coil around. The possibilities are endless, man. When you create, you just gotta try and do what works for you, pretty much. You're supposed to go with preference, whatever works for you, what looks good for you at that time. You feel me? You're supposed to go and do that. Try some things out. Don't be scared to try new things. When I first started doing wire wrapping, like I was scared to try different things, different designs, because I didn't want to waste wire. You know, shit, when I first started this, I didn't have too much money to keep wasting on wire, so I didn't really want to, you know, waste wire by trying different things, and that kept me in a little box for a minute. But then I started realizing when you put that energy out there, everything is going to come back to you. You're out here doing something positive. Like I do this for healing, you know? It's more about the healing than the money when I make jewelry. So all of that energy that I put out comes right back. All that currency comes right back. So don't be afraid to try things because you're scared to waste wire. Like, let me show y'all. I waste so much wire. People think I'm perfect. Like, I'm not. I waste so much wire. Let me show you. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Sorry about that, y'all. My light. But look, I just wanted to show y'all. Like, this is my scrap box. Like, nothing but scraps. All wire that I waste because I be trying new things, and I don't really measure everything out. Some things I feel like can't be measured. You just gotta go for what you feel. And it's always better to have more wire than not enough, because if you don't have enough, you know you're gonna run out of wire and you ain't gonna have enough to finish, so you're gonna have to start all over. But basically what I'm saying is, do not be afraid to try new things when you make designing jewelry, you know? So, like I said, we're gonna take the 24 gauge, a little bigger size this time on this smaller piece. So, as we did in the last one, we're gonna take this And we're gonna coil it in that same, we're gonna coil it in the same direction as we did the other. So we're gonna come around, base wire. Then we're just gonna come all the way around like this. See? It ain't gonna be that easy your first time doing it, but the more you practice, the more you understand the wire, the easier it's gonna become. Like the wire, it wants to go in that direction. So let me see, let me keep going. Bam. Check that out. There we go. On this side, we're gonna wrap it around a few more times. Make sure it's locked in there. Boom, there you go. Clip your ends off. Or sometimes you might not even want to clip your ends off depending on what it is that you're creating. You don't want to do that, right? So, but for the video purposes, we're gonna clip ours off. Take the needle nose pliers, put that on. Press it down. We're gonna do the same for the opposite side. Just like that. Push it down. And there we go. Just give you a whole different look, don't it? Look at that. So like I said, the options and the possibilities with the coils, the double coils, the exotic wraps, the possibilities are endless, man. Like you just gotta get out there and create. Try things. Don't put yourself in a box, man, because that's what it's about. Creating. We're supposed to be original. I mean, sometimes you might get inspired by somebody and take that design and make it your own. So you gotta really just put your heart into it and go with spirit, you know? It's always better when somebody see your work and be like, oh, I've never seen that before. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys how to do the exotic coils. I'm gonna try to have another video for you guys again, another tutorial on Friday. Like I said, I'm gonna do tutorials every Friday for you guys. Hopefully sometime next week or the week after, I'll be able to bring somebody on the channel and yeah, have a little change of energy. So love y'all for coming through again, man, listening to me, watching me show you guys how to create some things with my knowledge, give y'all a little bit of piece of me. So y'all take it easy. Peace.